Hi guys, before I get into this video, I just want to give you another Christmas related fact that I have just recently found out. So last night I came across several classic children's literature books that I feel that people should be aware of. And they are magnificent titles such as How Farting Santa Saved Christmas, Saving Katie Elf, A Funny Coronavirus Christmas Fart Story for Kids by Jamie V. Carroll. And there's also another version of it as well. I'm not sure whether it's a sequel or whether it's just the same book but with a different title and a different cover, or slightly different cover. But that is the How Farting Santa Saved Christmas, A Funny Coronavirus Christmas Story for Kids, also by Jamie V. Carroll. Please don't comment down below because I'm not going to read these and review these on my channel. You can comment all you want down there, I'm not going to read these. And there was also another book called How a Farting Snowman Saved Christmas, A Funny Coronavirus Christmas Fart Story for Kids. But this one is by Luke M. Jar. And not exactly how a snowman can fart, as he doesn't have any internal organs and he doesn't eat or drink anything. I mean, I'm a guy and I enjoy a fart every now and then. But do kids find this funny? I just thought it was really immature. But yeah, I will let you guys be the judge of it, but I'm not going to review these on my channel, so you can comment down there what you want. I'm not going to read these books. Also, before I get into my video, I just want to give you a bit of a warning. I think I am coming down with a bit of a cold. I'm feeling okay, but if I cough every now and then, I've got a bit of a tickly throat. So apologies for that, I will try to keep it to a minimum. Hi guys, my name is David. If you are new here, hi, welcome. And if you have been watching my channel for a while now, welcome back. So today I am going to be doing another book review. I haven't done one of these in a while, or it seems like I haven't. But the book that I will be reviewing today is a Christmas related book about Santa Claus. But this one doesn't go around farting all the time, so no worries about that. This one is called Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien. And yes, I do mean the guy who wrote Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Just a little side note here guys, I did go out to my local charity shop today and I just picked this book up today. It's second hand. It's a little pocket sized book about the like a rough guide to Lord of the Rings, and it's got all these like black and white pictures from it and like coloured pictures as well, so I thought it'd be kind of cool. So it was cheap. I love Lord of the Rings, I love Tolkien, so I thought I'd pick it up. And this book was edited by Bailey Tolkien. Now I had to do some research about who this person was. I found out that this is Tolkien's son's second wife, Christopher Tolkien's second wife. So this book was originally published on the 2nd of September 1976, and at the time it had its original title was called The Father Christmas Letters, but the title was changed from that to Letters from Father Christmas, which is what I will be referring the book as. So the genre of this book is a children's fantasy literature book, although in my mind this is a coffee table book. So as I always say in all my review videos, this is going to be a spoiler free video. I'm not going to spoil anything about the main story, and this is going to be my own thoughts and opinions regarding this book. So for many years now, children across the world have written to Santa Claus telling him what they want to get for Christmas. But this is the first time that Santa Claus has ever written back. From the years of 1920 to 1943, the author J.R.R. Tolkien decided to pretend to be Santa Claus and wrote back to his children and pretended to be Santa Claus and made up all these adventures that he had up at the North Pole and interacted with them once a year. This was a really interesting book. It's not a novel where it's not Lord of the Rings or any other novel where it has a start, middle and an end. What it is, it's a series of letters. So throughout every year It has the year up on the book. I mean on the top of the page, and it has a picture of the envelope that the actual letter came in, and it has a picture of the physical letter that Tolkien wrote, and some of the letters that he wrote to his children have got a picture. He actually drew numerous pictures in many of his letters. Not all of them, but I think about 75 to 80% of them came with a picture of some sort. And he wrote to his children at the time, which were Christopher, Michael, and Priscilla. Although I'm not sure if he wrote to John, but he does refer to his son John a lot in the book. And this book is full of charm. It really is. As I said, it's not a storybook. If you think about it as meeting up with a old friend once a year, and then having a 10-minute chat with you, telling you a little bit about their life, and then going off and then seeing them again the next year, and then rinse and repeat. This is pretty much what the story is. The letters in this are written in such a beautiful way, but after all the letters that are actually written, there is a letter. I mean, there is a I wouldn't say a translation, but it is typed out for you. So, for example, if you can't read that, which you could if you wanted to, it does actually have a typed out version, so you can be able to read it more clearly and not decipher Tolkien's handwriting. This book is full of charm and wit. It's as I said, Tolkien pretends to be Father Christmas, and he interacts with his children, whether they are numerous children or whether they are one specific child. And he tells them about adventures that he has in the North Pole. And he tells them about all the companions that he has. He has a polar bear, which is called the North Polar Bear. And the polar bear walks on his hind legs, and he does talk and he does write to the children. You can tell in his letters about what parts are his, because he writes in a very chunky font, and he does, and whenever they are typed out like this, they are emphasized because his sections are in bold, and he doesn't know how to spell certain words, so he does emphasize this. He does say that he doesn't know how to spell, but but it's not really confusing about what he's trying to say. It's actually kind of adorable and sweet, actually. And the polar bear is my favourite character throughout this book. Who knew? He is extremely charming and funny. He is extremely accident prone. He always messes up stuff. He climbs on the tree and it falls onto Santa Claus's house, and then he has to relocate on top of a cliff, which his house is actually called Cliff House throughout the book. And the polar bear, there was a time when the polar bear went down to Santa's cellar, and where all the fireworks and Christmas crackers were, and there was a big explosion, and he was having a bath on the top floor, and it was leaking through the floorboards and onto Santa and everything else. And Santa is always saying in all these letters about, oh, I hope the polar bear won't mess up this or interfere with that. And I'm like, yeah, he will. Most likely he will fall over and damage something. He doesn't mean to. He's just so incredibly lovable, and he's falling down the stairs at one point, and I'm like, yeah, at one point in Santa's life, this polar bear will cause accidents. He doesn't mean to. He's very, he's actually very, well, not gullible. He's actually very enduring. He really is. He's Santa's best friend, and Santa cares for the polar bear as well as the polar bear cares for Santa. Throughout this book, numerous other characters are mentioned. Of course, elves are mentioned, as well as gnomes. We find that that Santa has a secretary. I'm not sure whether his secretary is an elf or a gnome. I'm not really sure. But also there are goblins throughout this book as well. They are kind of like the gremlins in the Steven Spielberg movies, where they are small creatures, and they basically cause mischief. There's also other characters that you would find that would be more typical in a fantasy novel, specifically by Tolkien. Dragons, for example, are referenced throughout this book, or very briefly. Don't get excited. The North Pole isn't infested with dragons or fire-breathing dragons. They are only mentioned once, and it's only in a short sentence. Also, The Hobbit is mentioned as well. I'm not sure whether the Hobbit was published or written at the time that he referred to it. But again, like dragons, hobbits aren't in the North Pole. I just think that he's just referring to the novel when he is writing it, or actually talking about it rather. And this book is extremely enjoyable to read. It really is. With that said, does it have a linear story? In a way it does. Santa, throughout the years, brings up certain events that happened in the past. So for example, he mentions his original house getting destroyed by a tree, and he mentions previous events that happened to him with the polar bear and the goblins and all that type of stuff. There is a goblin war in this book. It's nothing as extreme as Lord of the Rings, so don't expect that, guys. But it's a nice story. It really is. Not just reading the letters. Reading the letters is only one part of it. You have to you really have to look at the envelopes that he sends. Look at them and just admire them. He actually does his own post stamps from the North Pole, and he even his handwriting is beautiful. The letters in it are so they actually range from really basic to a couple of lines. Although some of the letters go from a couple of lines to several pages, so they can differ from length. But the letters themselves are so beautiful. He does have pictures or doodles on some of his letters, and as I said, he does actually draw pictures at the back of his in these letters. Not all the time. I'm trying to find one, but they are so beautiful whenever he does it, like that one for example. I'm not sure if you can see that. Also, the cover of this book, that was a illustration drawn by Tolkien. This, you may be wondering, does this book have a conclusion when it gets to the last letter, which was delivered in the year of 1943? Does it have a conclusion? Yes, it does. I won't say what happens, but if you're wondering, is it left wide open? No, it isn't. There is a conclusion or an ending to this, I won't say story, but these are letters. And this is something that you can really easily read to your children when they're laying in bed. Children and adults can read this. It's not violent, especially in the Goblin Wars. It's not frightening or scary to kids. It's something which you can read one letter to them in bed, or it's something that if you are waiting in a waiting room, or you want to read something quickly before you have to do something, you could just read one of these letters and then do whatever you need to actually do. Reading the whole thing, it's really short. It's only 100. It's about 100 pages long. I have it obviously on my Kindle, so obviously all the letters and the drawings are all in black and white. But I would recommend that you get this book in its proper form and get this in colour. As I said, reading the letters all typed out nicely so you can read them is one tiny part of the story. You have to look at these letters because you'll be constantly going back and forth and just looking at these letters and just admiring the way that they're written, admiring the detail that Tolkien puts into them, and the doodles, and also these drawings that he that he draws as well. I can't praise this book enough. It really is. This is the first time I've actually read this, and yeah, it is a fantastic, really easy book to read during this festive time of the year. So what did I like about this story? I liked it how Santa was telling these kids that oh, I hope I've sent you the right thing, or he made them appreciate what they got for Christmas. Even if it wasn't exactly what they wanted to get for Christmas, or if it was something completely different, he was teaching them to be grateful for what they received for Christmas. And the amount of detail that Tolkien goes into isn't as extreme as his Lord of the Rings books or his Hobbit books. But he goes into enough detail where you can believe what's actually happening and you can love these characters, whether they're Santa Claus or the goblins or the gnomes or the elves or the polar bear, which was, as I said, my favourite. I do like it how he talks to the kids about like events that are happening in their lives. So he does say, oh, I hope John is okay. He hasn't been hanging up his stocking recently, but I hope he's doing well. He does mention their mum and dad, doesn't he, as well? And sorry, and he does mention the war, because I believe when he was, I believe the war that he mentioned was the Second World War. So that was a kind of a nice thing that he put in. He didn't go into a massive detail about it, but he did acknowledge the war happening at that time. And you can tell that he really cared. I mean, pretending to be Father Christmas, he did care for the kids, and he was taking an interest in their lives, as well. And he did say that he was writing to them because they were special. I mean, he can't write to all the children of the world because there are billions and billions of children throughout the whole planet. But this book was full of charm, and that's where it shines. Now, when it comes to what I disliked about the book, this is a very hard thing to say because it is what it is. This is a series of letters throughout a series of many years, and because it's not a novel, I cannot criticize it that much. I mean, would I have liked the letters to be longer? Yes, I would, but what you have to remember is that these were written for young children, and I don't know about children back then, but children, in my opinion, have a very limited attention span. If you send them a letter that's probably 20 pages long, chances are they're going to get bored halfway through, no matter who it's from. So the letters have to be short in order to retain a child's interest and attention. So that's okay, I can give it a pass with that. I would have liked how if the book included the actual letters from Tolkien's children. So for example, how it kind of like had a letter from one of the children, then a reply from Santa, and then a letter from the child, and then a letter from Santa, and back and forth. But this hasn't got any of the letters from Tolkien's children. This only has the letters from Tolkien pretending to be Father Christmas. So be aware of that when you go into this book. But I don't really have any dislikes about this book. It is a fantastic read and everyone should read it. Also, I forgot to mention as well that there are connections, well, not really connections, but loose connections, that if you are a fan of the Lord of the Rings books or the Hobbit book or movies or whatever, that you will, when you're going through this, that you will find comparisons with the Lord of the Rings and this book. And I'm not just talking about how it references dragons and the Hobbit. I am talking about the languages and the way Tolkien writes from different characters' points of view. For example, Santa's secretary, which is either an elf or a gnome, I can't really remember, but the writing of that character is written in a way that dwarves write. How they are, all their writing and architecture, it's all straight and it doesn't have any curves or anything like that. That's how this character writes. And it does have a small section where it has all this wavy writing, which does look extremely like the dark speech writing on the ring. On the ring from the Lord of the Rings movies and the book, and it's you know, in that way you can see how Tolkien was perfecting his language, because he was very interested in languages, and he does have a section of this book where I think in one letter he actually creates a made-up language as well. So if you're a massive fan of The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings books, and you haven't read this, then give this book a chance. It's not going to blow your mind, but if you are a fan of them books, then chances are you will appreciate this book even more. So what am I going to rate The Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien? This is an extremely hard question for me to answer, as how can you rate something like this? But I have decided that I am going to give it a 3 stars out of 5. But yeah, it's a really good book, as I keep saying, and that's what I'm going to give it. So that's it, guys. That is my review on Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a massive like, comment down below, and subscribe if you have enjoyed this video as a whole. If you do subscribe, please click on the little notification button, just so you know whenever I upload videos, which is every Monday and Friday, although throughout December only I will be uploading videos every Wednesday as well, but that's only throughout December. And as always, I just want to give another quick reminder about the readathon that me and several booktubers will be doing next month, which is called a Bookworms New Year readathon. I will put a picture up here and the link will be down below, and that will take you to my announcement video, which will give you all the information that you would possibly want about the readathon and all the rules and all that type of stuff. And it's just a fun way of you being able to read certain things that you haven't had a chance to read throughout the year of 2020. But with all that said, have a Merry Christmas, and I will see you all in my next video.